Have you ever found yourself secretly admiring the villain instead of the hero? What if the darkest characters in literature aren't just monsters, but mirrors? Imagine discovering that your fascination with villains reveals something about your own mind. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your brain is drawn to villains, and why writers like John Milton and Fyodor Dostoevsky created some of literature's most unforgettable dark minds. Today we explore why your brain falls in love with villains. Our brains are naturally drawn to complexity. Heroes often represent certainty. They know what is right. They sacrifice. They inspire. Villains are different. They question. They rebel. They break rules. Psychologists have long suggested that people are naturally curious about forbidden behavior because it challenges our expectations and forces us to think more deeply. Fiction allows us to explore these ideas safely without acting on them. A well-written villain isn't attractive because evil is attractive. They're compelling because they expose uncomfortable questions. What happens when justice fails? What happens when ambition becomes obsession? What happens when pain turns into revenge? The villain becomes a psychological experiment. One of literature's most controversial villains appears in John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost. Satan is not presented as a simple monster. He speaks with intelligence. He argues. He refuses to surrender. One of his most famous lines declares, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." For centuries, readers have debated this character. Some admired his determination. Others saw him as the perfect example of pride destroying itself. Milton's purpose was not to glorify Satan. Instead, he showed how pride, when separated from humility and wisdom, becomes self-destructive. The tragedy is not Satan's strength. The tragedy is his inability to change. Fyodor Dostoevsky took villainy somewhere even darker. Instead of asking, "Who is the villain?" he asked, "What if every human mind carries the possibility of becoming one?" In Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov commits murder believing he is intellectually superior to ordinary morality. But after the crime, something unexpected happens. His greatest enemy is not the police. It is his own conscience. Dostoevsky understood something modern psychology continues to explore. People often create stories to justify their actions. Yet guilt has a remarkable ability to challenge those stories from within. His novels remind us that the greatest battles are rarely fought outside. They happen silently inside the human mind. We don't admire villains because we want to become them. We admire them because they reveal emotions we usually hide. Fear, anger, loneliness, ambition. The best literature transforms villains into mirrors. They force us to confront the parts of ourselves we would rather ignore. Carl Jung described this hidden side of personality as the shadow, the aspects of ourselves that we often repress or deny. Great stories become memorable because they let us examine that shadow from a safe distance. Perhaps that is why unforgettable villains never truly disappear. They continue living inside our questions. Every great villain leaves behind one question. Was the darkness always inside them, or inside us? If literature is a mirror, perhaps the villain is simply showing us the reflection we've never dared to face.